We have returned from the break on In My Own Words. And usually during the offseason, you look at a lot of media outlets, they release their early projections, predictions on the 4 teams they believe will get into the college football playoff. Not saying those particular teams get in, but you see the projections, the predictions that these outlets release. And in this segment of the show, I'm putting on my cap here, and I'm going to give you my 4 teams that I strongly feel like will be in the big dance come next season. And at number 1, the Alabama Crimson Tide out of the Southeastern Conference. Look, until somebody steps up and consistently beats Nick Saban, you cannot bet against Nick Saban. You don't bet against that man. I don't care about the stuff going on right now where you have guys talking about, Saban's 66 years old. How long can he be doing this? How long will he be on top? How long will he be able to coach? Is Nick Saban retiring soon? He's no longer a spring chicken. A lot of younger names, fresher coaches, fiery guys out there. Which one is going to overtake Nick Saban? Look, as long as he is still bringing in top 5, top-ranked recruiting classes, this 2019 class is looking insane right now. And not just that, the talent Alabama has returning on both sides of the football. The quarterback situation will solve itself. The thing between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa will solve itself. But the talent around those guys on the offensive line, defensive line, running back, wide receiver, secondary, even special teams is looking like it may be a pleasant surprise this year for Alabama. So until somebody steps up and consistently proves that they can beat Nick Saban, Alabama will always be in the conversation when it comes down to being in the college football playoff, competing for a national championship. Alabama, number 1. Number 2, going to the Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC, I look at the Clemson Tigers. I understand Miami's good. Miami's coming with Mark Richt. You bring back Malik Rozier at quarterback. There's some good things going down in Miami. Florida State, Willie Taggart comes in from Oregon. He's a big-time recruiter. The players already love him down there. He's got that high energy, that positive vibe. You bring back DeAndre Francois at quarterback. Cam Akers is back at running back. You've got some pieces down there in Tallahassee, but can Willie Taggart put it together is the question. A lot of good teams in the ACC, but Clemson's the one under Dabo Swinney that has established itself. There was a moment in time where Clemson fans did not really think Dabo Swinney would be the guy to really take this program and elevate it toward an elite status where people look at Clemson and go, that's a team that's productive. That's a team that's great. That's a team that's among the elite, and that's a coach in Swinney that's among the elite, but yet he has done that. Clemson returning Kelly Bryant at quarterback, 2,802 passing yards last year, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, also had 11 rushing scores. Got to be able to improve his mechanics as a passer in the upcoming season, but there's a lot of talent around Kelly Bryant, especially at running back. Travis Etienne back, 766 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. Also Tavian Feaster and Adam Choice in that backfield for Clemson. At wide receiver, the Tigers returned Mr. All-Reliable Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow deciding to not pursue the National Football League draft, coming back for his senior season. The young man brought in 60 receptions for 602 yards, 3 touchdowns in 2017. Also, T. Higgins back for Clemson, 17 catches, 345 yards, and 2 scores. Defensively, under coordinator Brent Venables, Tigers loaded at linebacker. Kendall Joseph, 96 tackles, 5 of those for loss, 4 quarterback hurries, 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception. The defensive line, completely animals with Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Christian Wilkins. These three combined, 22.5 sacks, 42 tackles for loss. Regardless of what Miami's got going on with Mark Richt, head coach, Malik Rozier returning at quarterback, North Carolina State, there's Ryan Finley returning at quarterback, Virginia Tech continuing to grow with Justin Fuente as its head coach. The Atlantic Coast Conference growing. Even Florida State with Willie Taggart at head coach. Young guy, fiery guy, great recruiter. Cam Akers at running back. DeAndre Francois, back at quarterback. The toast of that conference remains Clemson. Until somebody knocks out Clemson, Dabo Swinney and the Tigers in that conversation for the college football playoff. Number 3 is where it gets interesting for me. And although people say watch the Texas Longhorns, and I agree, the Big 12, Oklahoma no longer with Baker Mayfield. Yes, you return Kyler Murray, but does Kyler Murray give you the same effect? Does he give you the same production? Does he give you the same swagger as a Baker Mayfield? Remains to be seen. The Big 12 is wide open. And a lot of people look at Texas, and for good reasons. Tom Herman entering his second season. The Longhorns, a solid 2018 recruiting class that was ranked 3rd nationally and tops in the Big 12. Of its 27 commits, 19 come from the ESPN 300, including 2 5-star guys. Texas has a lot of talent returning, but the main question for the Longhorns is that quarterback position between Shane Buechele and Sam Ehlinger. Until they find which one works best at that signal caller spot between those two, that's the question mark for the Longhorns. Have a lot of talent returning, and I agree. Big 12, wide open. Who wants it? But that remains to be seen. My number 3 team, though, the Washington Huskies. I feel like Washington, out of that Pac-12, has a chance to make the college football playoff. With USC losing Sam Darnold to the National Football League, who does Clay Helton turn to at that quarterback position? Yes, the Oregon Ducks have Justin Herbert, but is he ready? What does Stanford bring to the table? Washington has a proven quarterback in Jake Browning, and though he took kind of a step back in 2017, Washington, who finished 10-3 last season, averaged 36.2 points per game. Jake Browning, 2,719 passing yards, 19 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. You do have Myles Gaskin back at running back, a 1,000-yard back last season, 1,380 yards, did have 21 touchdowns. At wide receiver, that will be a question mark. Washington got to find some guys on the perimeter, losing Dante Pettis to the NFL, but Chris Peterson, the savviness that he has as a head coach, the Huskies will find somebody. They will develop some talent on the outside for Browning to throw to. Defensively, the Huskies are set with Ben Burkervin, at linebacker, 84 tackles, 4 of those for loss. Ryan Bowman back, 9.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. You also have Tevis Bartlett back. Bartlett, 12 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. On the defensive line, yes, Vita Vea gone. Greg Gaines back. 5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 30 total tackles. In the secondary, the Washington Huskies have Byron Murphy, 3 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and also Myles Bryant, who led the team with 8 pass breakups a season ago. So number 3, like the Washington Huskies, they do have to find a wide receiver with Dante Pettis gone, but I like the Huskies at number 3 with Chris Peterson. Rounding this out at number 4, a team that I think can make the college football playoff and will be there, the Michigan Wolverines. Last year, 8-5, 25.2 points per game offensively. But I'm putting the asterisk by Michigan due to, is Shea Patterson the guy? Talent-wise, he's got way more talent than John O'Korn and Wilson Speight. but is Shea Patterson the guy, leadership-wise, for this program to get the maize and blue back where they once were under guys like Lloyd Carr, under guys like Bo Schembechler? And is he the guy that can elevate Jim Harbaugh? When Jim Harbaugh came to Michigan, everybody was thinking he's coming from the NFL. He took a team in the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl. This guy was a quarterback in college, was a quarterback in the National Football League for the Chicago Bears under Mike Ditka. If he was a quarterback, if he played a quarterback, then he should be able to recruit quarterbacks, mold quarterbacks, prepare that position group. Jim Harbaugh has yet to do that during his time at Ann Arbor. The hope is Shea Patterson the one to kind of raise Jim Harbaugh to that elite status, because he has not proven that yet. Shea Patterson, during his time at Ole Miss, especially in last season, 2,259 passing yards, 17 touchdowns to 9 picks through 7 games for the Rebels prior to getting hurt. At the running back position, Michigan's got Karan Higdon. Higdon, 164 carries last year, 994 yards, 11 touchdowns. Backing him up is Chris Evans, 135 attempts, 685 yards, 6 scores. Got some young receivers for the Wolverines: Grant Perry, Sean McKinnon, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and tight end Zach Gentry. So Michigan's got some weapons on the outside. Got to get these guys involved. But first and foremost, that quarterback position where Shea Patterson is concerned has to be the rock offensively for this team. Defensively, Jim Harbaugh, got to give him this credit. He always keeps talented guys on defense. Devin Bush returns at linebacker, 102 tackles a season ago. Defensive back, Kalik Hudson. This dude was all over the field as a DB. 18 tackles for loss, team high. 82 tackles, 8 sacks, team high. Defensive back now, 8 sacks, team high. 9 pass breakups, 4 quarterback hurries, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. Hudson, the real deal. On the defensive line, therein lies Rashawn Gary, 12 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 7 quarterback hurries. Asterisks beside the Michigan Wolverines where the quarterback play is concerned, but that's the 4th team I believe will be in the college football playoff in the upcoming season. If not, then Jim Harbaugh can go find him a new job. But running back over this again, my 4 teams that I'm predicting will be in the college football playoff next season. I got Alabama representing the Southeastern Conference, Clemson coming out of the Atlantic Coast Conference, Washington coming out of the Pac-12, Michigan out of the Big Ten. Taking another break here on In My Own Words, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. When we get back, diving into the Ask Stephen segment. Your questions, your thoughts, your concerns about your Alabama Crimson Tide. We dive into the 4th edition of the mailbag. On the other side of this break, it's In My Own Words. It's your boy, Stephen M. Smith, host of In My Own Words, the podcast. If you are a fan of this show, then I encourage you to subscribe to the Touchdown Alabama Magazine YouTube channel. Also follow the brand on Facebook, Twitter, and other forms of social media as we continue to bring you the best in Alabama football and Crimson Tide athletics.